Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. Today I have a very unique situation and setup. It is Monday, November 10th, 2025, and I am in my mobile studio. That basically means I'm sitting in the front seat of my car. And for those who have been following me for many years, you know that there are certain seasons of the year where I fall into a great, wonderful pattern of routines. And it seems like every fall, right around the time when the time falls back an hour for daylight savings or going back to daylight standard time, whatever it is that we just did, we fell back an hour. And when that happens, I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to get up an hour earlier and have my body feel like it's the same as always. And so I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm like, okay, now's the perfect time for me to take this early morning routine, start heading to the gym, get there by 5 or 5:30 in the morning. And then what I do is instead of going straight into the gym, I park in the back parking lot of the gym. Now, I happen to go to Planet Fitness in Fort Wright, Kentucky, and I live in a portion of northern Kentucky that has many, many large hills. They would not even be closely connected to mountainous because of their elevation. However, they have the beauty of like mountainous kind of valley area. And the Planet Fitness that I go to, my home gym, is way up on top of one of these hills. And there are 6 other hills that I look out at that are kind of in that mountainous kind of formation. So it has that feel. And I'm overlooking a valley that goes in between all of these big hills. And so it's just this gorgeous place. I love the fact that I get up and I'm here so early in the morning that it's pitch black darkness, which means that it's solitude, it's quiet, it's before the majority of the world has woken up in my area. And I also have the privilege on days when it's not cloudy and snowing like it is today, of seeing a beautiful sunrise coming up over these hills. It's just a gorgeous place. And one of the things that I like to do during this season is to spend a significant amount of time in reading, studying, personal development. I do a significant amount of journaling, self-introspection, self-discovery, just determining more about who I am, what am I learning, what am I experiencing, what do I want to create next. Just being very conscious, awake, and intentional about life rather than simply falling back into hypnotic rhythm. And then spending some time in prayer and meditation, planning my day. And oftentimes, all of that leads me to this creative burst of energy. I want to create something. I am inspired to share something with the world. And so I, over time, had learned it's probably a good idea to bring my laptop. It's probably a good idea to make sure that I have some audio recording equipment. It's probably a good idea to make sure that I have my camera gear just in case I want to put some content together for the YouTube channel, or if I want to create some short form video content for I'll get into that in just a moment. And so this is a part of my annual routine in the fall, and I'm excited to be back in this game. So as a result of this routine, I'm sitting here in the front seat of my car, and one of the things I discovered at the end of last week was the fact that I can finally do something with short form video content today that I couldn't do this time last year. And that is, I can now create short form video format in vertical video that's 9:16, the kind that you see on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram or Facebook Reels. But anyway, I can create 9:16 vertical video, short form content where it is up to 3 minutes in length, and I can publish that to all of my social media channels without exception. Now, one caveat is that I have a paid subscription to X platform, which is formerly known as Twitter. And I paid for that premium membership so that I could actually post longer form content like this, and also so that I could upload long form video content and also live stream simulcasted to the X platform. So for me, there was many reasons why I had that paid membership. And so because of that, I have discovered I now can create up to 3 minutes vertical video, and I can instantly go ahead and upload that to Instagram Reels, which automatically has the option to put it into Facebook Reels as well. Both of those get fed out to those who are on those mobile platforms quite generously. So that's a very good thing there for discoverability and to stay top of mind for those who are connected with me. So that's Instagram and Facebook. Then I can upload that short form video to YouTube as a YouTube short, which used to only be 60 seconds, and then they bumped it up to 90 seconds. But now I have confirmed I can upload a 3-minute short to YouTube. So now that's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm also able to upload it to TikTok. And so that's awesome. I'm now on those 4 platforms. Then I also can upload that to the X platform, and then I also can upload it to LinkedIn. And so with one 3-minute piece, or up to 3-minute piece of content, I'm now hitting all of the platforms. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this gets me excited about creating more of my reflections from the front seat. Now, what are my reflections from the front seat? This is a series of content that I created many years ago. I was out here in the back parking lot, or sometimes in the front parking lot of Planet Fitness, depending on if it was before my workout or after my workout that the creative burst came. And what I would do is I would sit in the front seat of my car, turn on the camera, and I would create a vlog episode, a video log of a thought, an idea, an insight, an inspirational message or something. And I would sit here and create it from the front seat of my car, and I would publish that to my YouTube channel almost on a daily basis, certainly several times a week. And I had so much fun with that. And then, of course, I would get back home and I would go and see if I can't craft an email newsletter to go along with the theme of it, and seeing if it would persuade those individuals on my email list to see the longer form content. And so this was something that I was very much involved in many years ago. And when I was doing it, I recognized, looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, wow, that practice of doing that content consistently certainly kept me top of mind and opened up lots of dialogue with people within my community, and also helped introduce me to new people. And so I certainly loved the benefit of that. And at the time I was promoting the Free the Dream conference in 2018, and I was doing that even for Free the Dream 2019. And it was just an incredibly powerful time. A lot of my routines got interrupted as a result of what took place in 2020. You know, the pandemic, all of the stuff. Not going to go too much into that detail, except for the fact that since the pandemic and since the gyms have been opened, it seems like each fall I've come back to this place where it's like, oh, it's time for that early morning routine, specifically going to the gym, getting that personal development in, these specific habits and routines, and content creation. But one of the things that's different is that I recognize that content creation is different in 2025 than it was in 2018 and 2019. It seems like most people today are consuming vertical video content via YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels, vertical video is so accepted and adopted. And also, if on topic, algorithms are pushing it towards, and the platforms push people towards this format. I've noticed this a number of times when I've been on Instagram to watch a post and I load up the Instagram app. It would actually show like the old style posts. But if I actually went in and watched people's stories for the day, which is a different type of short form video content, it's more ephemeral, whereas Reels can live longer. But anyway, I would watch the stories, and then as soon as I finished watching the stories, the next thing I know, now I'm in this Reels video generation tool or promotion tool. And before I know it, it's like, oh, I came here to look up something real quick on Instagram, or I came here to look up something real fast on Facebook. But somehow I was motivated to click on one of the shorts, or the reels, I should say, in one of those two platforms. And now all of a sudden I'm scrolling, so much so that after a few minutes, I go to mark something as a favorite or to share it with my wife or something like that. And all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, the user interface isn't working here. And I realize, wait, I'm not on TikTok. I'm on either Instagram or Facebook. And so I'm recognizing just how much that format of content is out there. And also, if you can be concise and you don't have to limit yourself to 90 seconds or even 60 seconds like I have to used to before, like this time last year, but now I could do up to 3 minutes, this is going to be great. And so all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm going to start creating some short form video content up to 3 minutes that can be syndicated to all of my social media platforms. And I got really excited about that, and I went and dusted off some equipment. I've got my Canon M50 camera here. It's a super high, beautiful video camera, like video and still photography camera. I've got plenty of lenses for it to do all the stuff that I would want to do. I've got the old Video Mic Pro Plus shotgun mic that goes on top of the camera. I've got my old Osmo Pocket. I know people today are using the Osmo Pocket 3, but I've got my old Osmo Pocket, and I confirmed that it still works. And I've got a GoPro Hero Black 7. I've got all of this stuff. And I'm like, let's see if we can't use some of these tools to create these short form video content. And this morning I was going to create a short form video for the topic of, I think we're running into a significant danger with AI. And it's not that AI is going to replace us as content creators, but it's actually going to cause all the content creators to sound exactly like one another. And as I began to sit down and operate with ChatGPT, what my thoughts were, and I wanted to kind of see if I can't come to some sort of understanding of how I want to communicate it, it pumped out a script. And of course, I'm at the place where I don't want to read scripts anymore. And I don't want to sound like I'm reading a ChatGPT thing. This is a topic that I woke up this morning wanting to share because over the weekend, I was watching a number of content creators, some of whom I know and love and respect and absolutely know that what they're saying is their lived experience. Whereas there's a number of content creators that I don't know. And because of an algorithm, it pulled up their content. And I just found myself completely pulled out of what they were saying and asking myself, is this person's lived experience, or is this an automated process? And what I discovered was that without a script, I was having a difficult time to even put this into a 3-minute format. And I figured the only way I'm going to be able to pull off everything I want to say in this situation, I'm going to have to throw away the script and just film it and see how it goes. And the smallest amount of time that I was able to take up was 6 minutes after I edited out all the fluff. And then I'm like, well, this is 6 minutes. It'll work on TikTok. It's not going to work on YouTube. I could probably put it on the X platform, but then I got this same problem that I had before. It's like, I want to have one video that goes to them all. But this morning I'm like, okay, there's nothing that I said in this 6 minutes that I don't want to be in the 3 minutes. And I don't feel like creating a script where it's just so cut and dry. It doesn't have the flavor of who I am. I still think there's going to be a lot of valuable room for me to create up to 3 minute content and be clear, concise, to the point, and it's still authentically me. But this topic of, I think there's a real danger of content creators using AI in that we're all starting to sound like each other, which means we're actually all starting to sound like ChatGPT. So instead, what I decided to do is like, okay, I'm going to delete this video that I've been editing, this 9:16 vertical video format. I'm going to go straight on. Let's do a full-blown YouTube video update on this. And then when I finished, I'm like, yep, that's the heart of it. There's only 2 or 3 slight edits that I made. I'm like, this is exactly what was on my heart to share today. And there's nothing that's in this message that I want to take out of this message. So this is it. Yeah, this warrants a long form video content. And I was getting ready to upload it to my YouTube channel, and I was looking at the transcript and everything that I had created from it. I'm like, this actually makes a decent audio only episode. The only thing I did is I mentioned the fact that I stopped the vertical video and I switched to landscape and stuff like that. But everything else was pretty much just narrative audio storytelling with a me on camera. But I'm like, this works. With the exception that I would need to create some sort of introduction that says, hey, the audio quality of what you're about ready to hear sounds different because, well, I'm recording this on a camera with a shotgun microphone in the front seat of my car. And so I wanted to share this with you, this content that I created today, and also give you an update as to what's been going on recently with my new morning routine, getting back here, these creative bursts. And I actually have in the trunk of my car a Rodecaster Pro. I've got a Heil PR40 microphone. I've got a mic stand. I've got everything to record this all professionally. And I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but it's funny because right now there's an ambulance I hear right down at the bottom of the road. I'll stop talking for a second. I don't know if the setup that I've got going here will let you hear that ambulance in the background. But even though I have my professional audio gear in the trunk of the car, I think what you're hearing now is definitely better audio quality than the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus shotgun mic on top of my Canon M50 camera, which is what you're about ready to hear in just a moment from now. But you might be asking yourself, well, Cliff, if you're not using the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus for your audio of what you're recording in this intro of this podcast episode, and if you're not using your Heil PR40 and your Rodecaster Pro setup, what are you using? Well, I actually happen to be sitting here right in front of my MacBook Pro 16 or 17 inch. I can't remember what this is, but it's the MacBook Pro when the M1 Max chip came out. It's an M1 Max MacBook Pro, and it has an incredible set of microphones inside of this MacBook, and I'm recording straight into Adobe Audition. And I did a test of it before hitting record and saying all the things that I'm saying right now. And I'm like, wow, that sounds really good. It sounds almost as good as if I was speaking into my Heil PR40 into the Rodecaster Pro. Why don't I just go ahead and record this intro this way? So that's a little insight behind the scenes, what's going on in my world. And now I want to share with you this message that I created about the dangers of using AI as a content creator in that we're all starting to sound like each other unless we're intentional about making sure that that doesn't happen. And one of the things that it reminds me of, and it's been something that I've evolved over time, is like, okay, I want to get back to my unscripted self. I want my unpolished self to shine. All right, that'll make sense when you hear this. I'll transition over to that pre-recorded video that I made this morning right now. Have you been hearing people warn about the fact that AI is coming for our jobs? I think there may be some reality to many parts of that. But I want to specifically talk to you about a part of this fear that AI is going to replace us as content creators. Who would need a content creator to put a message out when people can get whatever content they want straight from AI? Well, I don't know about you, but I still desire to have engagement with other human beings. Somebody who knows the feelings of what it means to go through a significant hurt, a significant loss. Not some tool that's trained on that information, but actual human experience. I want somebody who has been there, done that isn't just trained on all of the theories of what to do and how to do it and what order to do it and all the formulas and all the frameworks. I want somebody who has put it to the test and has experienced not so great results, even though they seemingly did everything exactly as described. You see, there's something about the human element, about our experience of life, that brings great value, that we can resonate with. And one of the things that I had been guilty of myself when I was first introduced to AI, specifically ChatGPT, was the fact that I could go to this tool and share a thought in the morning. I could say, hey, today I think I want to create some content, whether it be a podcast episode, an email newsletter, a social media post, or whatever the case may be. I want to create a piece of content for my audience today. And here's what I'd like it to be about. The topic is this, and I'd like to tell you about an experience that I had. I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you how I felt in the moment and how it reminds me of this. And I just gave it this crazy, pulling from all these different trains of thought. Just it's a scrambled mess of tons of ideas related to this topic, and I just poured it all in without really any consideration of in what order, how it all connects and stuff like that. I just know it's all relevant to this idea. And those early days, and even still today, it takes all of that information and says, got it, Cliff. I see what you want to do. You're telling me that you want to create a piece of content for this audience on this platform. You want it to be about this topic. You want it to include the insights from all of these different variety of things that you've shared with me. And you'd like the desired outcome to be blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, I'm on it. And then it spits it all out in seconds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I personally woke up this morning and decided I wanted to put out into the world. And the way that you just put it out in this output is amazing. And in the early days, I would hit record and I would sometimes read word for word those responses because it felt like my content. It felt like something that was unique to me. And I will still argue to this day, it was unique to me. It was my idea. I did compose that, but I did not actually format it into the actual words. ChatGPT did that. It did the exact word for word script. That was not me. Now, I will tell you, I've seen lots of people out there in the content creating world that are looking for shortcuts. They're looking for automations. And there are a lot of people that go into a tool like ChatGPT and they have it plugged in to other tools that automate processes for them. And they say, hey, my target audience is fill in the blank. And my problem that I solve for people is fill in the blank. I need you to give me and generate 50 different ideas for topics that will speak to my target audience. And then they have that list. Great, keep that, put it in a spreadsheet, pull it from line item to line item. And for each topic, I want you to use this formula, this framework to create to create a hook, talk about the problem, go and do all of this stuff, give 3 insights and a call to action. I want you to put all of that stuff together, and I want you to script all of that out. And so these are people who are creating content on an automated basis. That's not their ideas. They didn't wake up that morning excited to talk about this particular thing. Instead, they're just having AI churn out a bunch of random topics that might be of interest. And it's not coming from their own heart. It's not coming from their own lived experience. It's not coming from their own thoughts that are generated inside of themselves. It's not from their own human existence. It is purely AI. And some of those content creators will export those out as scripts, put it on a teleprompter, and just read it to you. In some cases, they're even going so far as using AI avatars that are fairly realistic today. Now, this is not an AI avatar. And I'm not opposed to using AI avatars. I've not used one yet, but I'm not opposed to it. And I'm not opposed to using scripts and things like that. But I think the danger is that we're all starting to sound the same. These repetitions, it's not this, it's that. Here's the deal. It stopped me in my tracks. The truth is ... And there's just this cadence. There's this rhythm. It's this ChatGPT-ness of the output response that is obvious that it was formulated, the actual end result script was formulated by ChatGPT or some other similar model. However, there is very little way for the audience or the consumer of our content to distinguish, are we the person who spent hours engaging with that AI tool to really craft the essence of what's going into it, putting our experience, our emotion, our thought process into it, compared to somebody who just has a script that automatically generates 50 new pieces of content every week? There's really no way to tell if you're actually reciting the content, reciting the script. And what's happened for me recently is I'm actually going through TikTok and I'm scrolling through, or I'm going through YouTube Shorts, or I'm going through even a long form video like this on YouTube. And I'm following content creators that I very much respect and love. And I'm also coming across new content creators that I've never heard before. But instantly, as soon as somebody is going through, they've got this amazing hook. And now my attention is like, oh yeah, tell me more. That speaks to me, I think. That I identify with this. And then all of a sudden they're starting to tell a story, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. This person is very credible. I'm feeling that this person is very proficient. They're well knowledgeable in this experience and all of this other stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, but here's the problem. It's not this, it's that. And as soon as I start to hear the chat GPT-ness of it, and I'm calling it chat GPT-ness. It could be the Claude-ness of it. It could be the whatever, the Gemini-ness of it. But as soon as I start hearing those catchphrases that I hear hundreds of times a day, every day, and I know when I'm actually hearing a chat GPT response, all of a sudden now I'm asking myself, does this person actually have this lived experience? I'm actually drawn out of the content that I'm sitting there on the screen viewing, and I'm asking myself, does this person have this lived experience? Does this person have this knowledge? Or is this just the result of an automated prompt? I don't know if I can trust this person. And in some cases, I'll be on chat or TikTok, I'll get about 90 seconds into a video, or maybe 45 seconds into a video. It just, who knows? We all lose time on these platforms. At least I do anyway. Maybe you don't. But anyway, I'll get through. And as soon as I hear something that smacks of GPT, I immediately say, this isn't from that person. Now that may not be true. You see, I will argue there's many pieces of content over the early days of using AI, and I used it a lot to create a lot of content. I'm not embarrassed by it. I recognize, for me personally, I feel like everything I've produced has been from me. It has never been something that's just the output of a quick, hey, give me something along this lines for this audience, and then it spits out a script, and then it's that. I will work sometimes for up to an hour, maybe even several hours on a single piece of content that I want to help me think about this and formulate it and formulate it into a cohesive piece of communication. And I'm looking for feedback, and I go back with guidance back and forth. But what can't be escaped is the fact that ChatGPT uses formulaic rhythmic patterns of communication. And in the early days, I was not as hyper vigilant to this awareness. And I put out a lot of content that's evergreen, that's in some podcast feeds. It's out there in some videos. It's in some social media posts. But now I recognize, like, wait a second, this person sounds just like I do. Or wait, I sound just like they do. Wait, we all sound just like, ChatGPT. And I just have no way of distinguishing anymore. Is this person that I've never seen before? The algorithm brought it up because it's a topic that is relevant to something I'm interested in. Great job, TikTok, on that. And then all of a sudden there's a hook. It's captured my attention. There's an opening line in a statement. And it's like, yep, you've got my attention. Continue on. But as soon as you say one of those patterns, one of those rhythmic patterns that smacks of ChatGPT, instantly, I don't know you. I don't know if I can trust you. And I don't know if you have this lived experience. I don't know that you actually have gone through this. I don't know if this is your wisdom through hard-earned living. Or is this just something that you just are out there creating content for the purpose of creating content? So how can we avoid this is my question. I'm asking myself as I'm watching content creators around the world all sound like ChatGPT, and the fact that I was among them, I'm asking myself this question: how can I get away from this? Do I have to stop using ChatGPT or other AI tools? No, I don't. However, for this topic today, this piece of content, I actually went to ChatGPT. I talked to it. It gave me an outline. I've got the whole thing. I got a script here it gave me and all this other stuff. And I read it a couple of times, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I have lived this experience. This is enough of me that I could speak to this topic off the top of my head. Now, am I going to be able to fit this into a 3-minute video for a short form format? No, I tried. I got it down to 6 minutes, and then I'm like, I don't like this. The only way I'm going to be able to get this down to 3 minutes in quick order is to actually just have ChatGPT write the script for me. And I could actually go and change the script. And then I ask myself, do I even want to be scripted? And then eventually I'm like, you know what? Let me take my camera, flip it from 9:16 to 16:9. Let's go full on landscape. Let's go full length, long form video content. It's been a while since I've put one of these on my YouTube channel and various other places this might live. So yeah, I think for me, it's not about not using ChatGPT. It's just about avoiding using the output of ChatGPT as a way to script me. That's for me. That's what I'm going for. And I would encourage some other content creators. If you're a content creator, I would encourage you to educate yourself on what are the rhythmic patterns of ChatGPT, where it's a dead giveaway that ChatGPT wrote this. And here's one final little issue that I found. The reality is, the truth is, see, I am engaging with ChatGPT so much on a daily basis, and every response sounds exactly the same. The information is not the same. The information is unique to whatever I'm discussing with ChatGPT. But the way it's formulated, the rhythmic cadence of its vocal pattern is identical, one right after the other. And I've noticed that in real-time unscripted conversation, there are times that I'm beginning to start picking up on some of those common rhythmic patterns. Like, of course, early on, I got out of I delved into this. I will never in conversation say that I delved into something. It's like, listen, I dove into something. Like, I was diving right in. I don't delve in things. But boy, in the early days of ChatGPT, it had me delving in all sorts of topics. And what was the other one? Just the rhythm. Yeah, it's influencing the way that I communicate. And even unscripted, I might say something that is now becoming an unconscious pattern. And so for me, I want to be consciously aware of the words that I'm saying. I want to be educated of what those patterns are, what those rhythmic cadences are of AI, so that I can actually take them out. I want to be more unscripted. I want to be more unpolished. I want to be more human. I want to be more imperfect, so that you can tell it's really me. It's truly me. I came up with this. This is something that's been on my heart and on my mind a lot lately. And I just wanted to share that with you. Hey, if you're a content creator, if you are concerned about AI taking over the world of content, don't worry about it. People are going to be looking for authentic voices. People are going to be looking for people who have real, true, lived experiences. And if you want to stand out among the crowd of content creators who are pumping out endless amounts of content because it's so easy and it's automated, all you have to do is bring your imperfect, unpolished self to the camera or to the microphone or to the keyboard and just speak from your heart. And I'm not suggesting that you can't go into ChatGPT or other AI tools and flesh your thoughts out and come up with a clearer picture of what you want to communicate and how you want to communicate it. But for me personally, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go unscripted once I have it. And I'm going to change that thing so that it sounds like me, because it is me. I hope this has been of some sort of encouragement to you. What has been your experience? Have you ever questioned the credibility of a content creator because all of a sudden they sound like a ChatGPT response? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do in life and business and content creation to the next level.